Welcome all to the Sin Savages podcast. This is episode 4. My name is Mike, and I'm joined by my co-host Brian and Kyle. Can you guys want to say a quick hi?
Howdy.
What's up?
Awesome. Well, in today's news, we got breaking news for you guys today. Our co-host Kyle is going to share with you guys a little bit about some murder hornets.
Look, I'm about to blow your guys' mind. I hope you're sitting down. I know everyone's focused on Ukraine, but we have some major breaking news. Came out today, 12 p.m. You heard it here first. Murder hornets have a weakness. It's sex.
Oh.
Sex.
Earmuffs, dude. Earmuffs.
This is PG.
All right. So I'm going to read this article to you.
Who's it by?
It is by
The internet.
the very credible reporters over at Futurism.
Don't let me turn your mics off.
So it starts out, the subtitle is Horny Hornets.
Oh.
Like Bugs Bunny, dressing up like a lady to trick Elmer Fudd. Scientists have discovered that sex can be used to lure giant invasive hornets into traps, or honey traps. The researchers who published their findings in the journal Current Biology created a synthetic sex pheromone to attract the male Vespa mandarina, known more sensationally as murder hornets, and capture them in traps that also contain a fake female hornet. Idiots. Never fall for the thirst trap.
Wait. Isn't that catfishing?
It's okay with murder hornets. So, quote, we were able to isolate the major components of the female sex pheromone and order blend that is highly attractive to males who compete to mate with virgin queens. James Nye, and I'm going to butcher this. An entomologist at the University of California, San Diego, co-author of the paper. So,
government research funds at work right there.
I guarantee you.
So, I'm just going to skip down to the very best part of this article. My favorite part of this was they said, so yeah, these hornets are completely willing to risk their lives for a booty call, which honestly might show that they're not so different from humans.
or that they're just the general male of species, of every species, willing to risk your life for what matters most.
To get laid.
I like how Kyle's like, I'm going to skip to the very best part. I'm like, just like in real life.
But so throughout the article, they talk about how they have this trap, and they're at, because I guess with murder hornets, it's been wreaking havoc on like the bee production crops or whatever in the U.S. Like that's worth like $100 million in crops or something like that.
Apparently
the bee habitats, because they're killing bees, right?
Yeah, they murder them.
They murder them.
Yeah, first degree murder. Get it right.
They're out there hunting honeys.
But so yeah, they created this trap, put a fake female in there with a pheromone, and they ended up catching like thousands of these things. And so
the article says they're all over Canada and northern
U.S.,
right?
Yeah,
it's like this is how we achieve world peace, man.
Yeah, it's like it starts with the murder hornets.
They literally could have just went to any hunter in the world and told them like, how do you catch deer?
He's like, you see this little bottle right here?
No, look, Kyle has another story that's even better than that one, I think. His deer hunting story. I forget who the guy was. I don't know if we can say it on the camera, but it's a really good story.
All right, let's.
We're not going to do it? Oh, okay.
Yeah, I don't know if
but it
literally
parallels exactly what they were saying with murder hornets with firsthand.
Yeah, with an unfortunate event to one unfortunate individual.
If we have
his unfortunate face.
If we have tickled your interest, stay tuned for episode 5.
Oh, if we make it there.
Yeah, we'll see what YouTube has to say about that.
But yeah, that's my contribution for the night. So
awesome. Well, that is very informative and completely relevant to world peace at the moment. And
you're welcome.
Needed to be said.
Glad I could bring this breaking news.
And if you have any questions, please comment down below. Give us a like, a thumbs up, subscribe.
Coyote Peterson's gonna be calling Kyle. Hey man, you give me the down low on these murder hornet story here.
Or the scientist that did the research is gonna like comment down below. He's like, what the fudge, man? that took six months of my life.
You skipped everything I wrote.
All my hard work. You just breeze right past
to the sex part.
Oh yeah, we skipped all the scientific part, like why it was impacting the bee population and whatnot.
Nerd.
He's like, plus, you didn't even say my last name correctly. Douche.
All right. Well, on a heavier note, let's get into some other articles. The first one we got here is obviously, as many have noticed, we have skyrocketing gas prices still. Shocker. I mean, apparently it's Putin's fault completely and 100%. Even though prices started skyrocketing even before the Ukrainian invasion. But we have this article from PJ Media, and I think our co-host here, Brian, is the one that brought this to us. So you wanna take the lead on this one?
Yeah, as Rahm Emanuel once said, "Never let a good crisis go to waste." Right? And who knew that the Democrats or Biden or his administration would ever want gas prices to skyrocket? Right? Clearly, he said when he was running for president, you can go watch video on this. Once we get a little bit more technologically advanced on this show, and we're not talking about murder hornets and sex, we'll actually be able to show you some clips
and data.
Right now, you just have to take my word for it. I printed it off. So, but anyway, so when he ran for president, of course, you guys remember he was talking about, he was going to try to definitely derail oil. He wanted to make sure that there was no more fracking and drilling. You can watch his videos, right? All day long. So it would come to no surprise that if you were in the oil industry, wouldn't you think that it's like at some point in time that, maybe I might not start investing in drilling more oil. I might, slow down my process or just keep it where it's at, and then that coupling with the COVID, slowdown, it's not helping things much with the oil companies. Okay. I am in no way defending them for any stupid things that they do. However, in this case, everybody keeps saying it's like, it's not Biden's fault. It's not Biden's fault. And, you could always argue, sit there and say, hey, presidents aren't responsible for gas prices. However, they do have effects, right?
Yeah. The buck stops with the president, right? Yeah. I mean,
if your
policy is created by his administration.
If you're the chief executive officer and you say you're going to do something or you're not going to do something, that's going to have effects downriver, And so with the oil and gas industry, that was already happening. Day one, he shut down XL pipeline. Boom, done, right?
Yeah.
So anyway, so Biden's handlers, as much as Biden, they want gas prices to go up. So Monday, Transportation Secretary Mr. Mama Buttigieg, appeared to be fantastically out of touch when he responded to skyrocketing gas prices at the pump. Do you guys remember what he told everybody he should just go do?
Oh, yes. I believe he said to go buy a very expensive electric vehicle
that
runs on electricity.
Do you know how much that electric vehicle costs on the low end?
I think on the low end, like 40 to 45,000.
Yeah. What's the average income for Americans?
I think it's like
55,000.
55,000.
I was gonna say around there.
Yeah, that's like, good one. So of course you saw the stuff on the news about how they're talking about, go out, let them eat cake. It's like go out and get an electric vehicle. Just shut up, idiots. Clean transportation can bring significant cost savings for America, people as well. He asserted, I can never pronounce his name when I read it. Buttigieg.
Buttigieg?
We'll call him Booty.
We're going to just call him
Booty.
Pete. We're just going to call him Pete, right? Who anybody could do his job better than him. He left for 2 months and nobody knew he was gone. So
things actually started running better during that
2 months. The buses were running smooth, man.
Well, I know they turn to think, Pete, where's Pete? He comes back and then all of a sudden he's got to throw the wrench. He's like that, the meme of the guy on the bike and he sticks his own stick into the bike for
just
spokes.
To see what happens.
That's Pete. Anyway, last month we announced $5 billion investment to build out nationwide electric vehicle charging network. This is Pete. So the people from rural to suburban to urban communities can all benefit from gas savings and driving on EV, right? Well, Tesla's already done this.
Yeah.
Tesla has power charging stations all over the U.S. And you know what they're not going to do? They're not going to share.
Oh yeah, no.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, also on a Tesla note, Elon Musk, the founder and CEO of Tesla, came out himself and said that
We need to start.
we need to ramp up oil immediately. I don't know if that's something that you were going to touch on.
Yeah. Well, the administration isn't just out of touch. It's actively trying to use this crisis and impose its green agenda, as we already know. Environmental Protection Agency Chief Megan Rain confirmed that on Monday. The Sacramento Bee reported that Reagan was at the White House along with Pete, allegedly Vice President Kamala Harris, to announce proposed limits on new buses and large trucks to curb some of the greenhouse gas emissions up to 90% in the next decade. In the course of his remarks, Reagan boasted, "We're pressing the accelerator to reach a zero-emission future sooner than most people thought." Again, you're pushing for this narrative on we all need to go to electric power vehicles. Therefore, if that was your end goal, what would you want gas to have to do? You'd want it to have to go so high that people couldn't afford it that you have to force them off that rail. The whole point.
Yeah.
And of course, nothing presses accelerator to reach zero emissions future more effective than gas prices rising so high that carbon emitting car is simply too expensive. At the Monday White House event, Harris was likewise enthusiastic, saying, "We are all in the midst of a turning point. We have the technology to transition to a zero emission fleet. We can address the climate crisis and grow our economy at the same time." I read this better than she could ever speak, so just go watch some of the things she said, and you won't be disappointed at all. If you can imagine it. There, you imagined it.
I wish I could push a button. To have the,
so
have the
inspired.
Disney imagination.
Do you know what we're talking about?
Jingle.
You don't know? Oh,
Oh man,
I don't want to go down the rabbit hole.
we're too old.
Oh, anyway. So anyway, we're all in the midst of a turning point, and the green energy forces are not going to let it go. On Tuesday, Joe Biden said the situation was going to get worse as prices are going to go up, and he couldn't do anything about it. Can't do much right now. Russia's responsible. It's old pooty poot. It's his fault. Biden also claimed that it's simply not true that my administration policies are holding back domestic energy production. Again, go watch the videos where he talked about it, what he was going to do to the oil and gas when he ran for president, right? So Joe Biden, August 21, 2021, where executives general Joe Biden held a conference at the White House where he brought in all of these electric car manufacturers, right? So he brought in General Motors, he brought in Ford, he brought in, I can't pronounce, Stellantis.
Is this the one where they brought in everyone except Tesla?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Tesla was pissed, man.
Exactly. Yeah. So
The EV summit.
yeah, he brought in all these American car companies, right? And of course, he left out Tesla, and he left out Honda, and he left out Toyota, who also make electric vehicles. Would you like to take any guesses why they were left out?
Because they're not dependent on the government.
Well, yes, in
They
a
have
way.
their own infrastructure.
When it comes to car manufacturing, what's a big deal in the car manufacturing to the Democrats?
Money.
Yeah, but something else.
You're
Unions.
correct.
Unions.
But it's not what I'm looking for.
unions.
Unions.
not part of the
These are
union.
all union companies. Tesla, Toyota, and Honda are not. Would make sense
did not
why
know
you
that.
would not
Interesting.
incorporate
I didn't know
Tesla,
that.
Toyota, or Honda into this because
part of the-
they're not part of the unions.
Yep.
Nor do they want to be, nor should they have to be. You know, if a Tesla factory decides to go union at some place and what's his name? The owner of
Texas?
Tesla. Oh no, the owner of Tesla.
Elon Musk.
Elon Musk is for it, then fine. You know, that's your decision if you choose to do that. But if they don't want to do it, you can't force them into doing it. And clearly, Biden and his administration wants to support these unions because the unions support him.
Regulation, right? They want to support regulation.
Right. Yeah. So, let's see. Psaki asked about the absence of Tesla in her briefing ahead of the event. She said, "Well, of course, we welcome the efforts of automakers who recognize the potential of an electric vehicle future and support efforts that will reach the president's goal. And certainly Tesla is one of those companies. I would not expect this in the last time we talked about clean cars and more towards electric vehicles. And we look forward to having a range of partners in that effort." Right. You actually believe anything that she says?
Meanwhile, Elon is like just sitting here like.
Yeah, so, asked if Tesla being a non-union company was the reason it wasn't included in Thursday, Psaki replied, well, those are 3 largest employers in the United Auto Workers. So I'll let you draw your own conclusion. Conclusion drawn, Psaki.
Wow. She really said that?
Wink, wink.
We're here with you.
nod.
We got you. Yeah. All right. So, of course, what's happening here is that, the government, again, is picking winners and losers. Back in 2008, do you guys remember when this happened?
Oh,
Banks, but more specifically, cars and whatnot, and these companies that made, what are those things that create energy from the sun? What are they called? Solar panels. Solar? Yes, solar. Oh, yeah. So, oh, man. There was a president called Barack Obama, and he did bailouts for these solar companies, not necessarily bailouts, but he invested money to invest in green energy. Can you recall a name of one of those companies that we invested buttloads of money into that never returned any investments?
Solar company?
Yeah, solar company.
Solar City?
Close. That's got solar in the name. It's pretty close. Let's go through a list. I have a list right here, actually. So, first one, Solyndra received $535 million loan. They went bankrupt in 2011.
What?
Abound Solar received part of a $60 million grant under the Bush administration and was awarded, and yes, it was under Bush, and was awarded $400 million loan under the Obama administration in December 2010. They went bankrupt in 2012. Beacon Power received more than $25 million in grants and a loan for $43 million. Bankrupt October 2011. A123 Systems received $390 million, of which $249 million of it was a Recovery Act grant. Filed for bankruptcy in October 16, 2012. AES Eastern Energy Storage, $17.1 million, went bankrupt in December 31st, 2011. I have a list of companies. I can keep going down here. You can clearly see right here of all of these companies that the government backed. Winners and losers, right? We want to go green. These are the companies we backed. They all went bankrupt. Every single one of them.
With like millions of dollars of backing.
Close to, I'd say, billions,
1.5 billion or something.
Maybe, yeah. If I were a betting man, I'd say at least $1 billion. Wow. So when, Biden says that he is not responsible and it's not his fault the gas prices are going up, and we clearly have video of him saying the counter to that, when we clearly see his actions the counter to that, and we see in the past where the government has picked, the solar energy over investing into nuclear or investing into our natural resources of oil and natural gas, all of those companies went bankrupt. Right.
Pretty much whenever the government gets involved,
make poor decisions. Yeah, we back the wrong horse all the time. So don't let Psaki deter you or derail you or confuse you when it comes to these things, which she's very good at. And that's my story.
So what do you guys think this is going to mean for like the everyday, average Joe or everyday Americans? Right? Like what is this, new take on energy and, gas prices, like, passing the buck on it. What is it going to do? Because we saw that in 2008, right? It's resurfacing kind of like with a vengeance nowadays. So.
I like electrical. I like the idea of electric cars. I like Teslas. I think it's a great idea. I mean, if you've ever been around electric cars, I think, when Toyota came out with the Prius, stupid looking car, it made Toyota $0, right? It was a lead loss vehicle for them, but the idea was great. Tesla took it, and then it's the only thing they make is electric vehicles, and they're doing a great job at it. And I think the future is in electric vehicles. However, our infrastructure is not there yet. And to derail our entire system, which is based off of oil, and just switch over to electric when you don't have the infrastructure there to back it up. And I know Psaki's talking about building the infrastructure. You know how long that takes? You know how long it took Tesla to do that? Yeah. You know how much money they invested, their own money they invested into doing that? When gas-powered vehicles started becoming a thing, what's his name? I can't remember his name. They call him the robber baron. Rockefeller.
Oh, Rockefeller.
Standard Oil, right? He invested his own money in building gas stations and building out that infrastructure for that. That's not the government's responsibility to do that. I don't want my dollars paid for that. Now, however, as we start buying more electric vehicles in your areas, if you're paying taxes in your areas and you vote for that stuff to put in, charging stations and whatnot, that's on you,
Right.
But let the market decide that. Don't force the market into doing it. As soon as you do that, you're derailing what this country's all about, the free market,
Yeah, I mean, it's a scary thought, especially, with the economy and where it's at right now with, the housing market and, where supply chain infrastructure is and everything. I mean, it feels like, the deck of cards is like one tip away from just falling apart. And I mean, I don't know if you guys saw just recently, I think it was today or yesterday, I think it was the AP, or it might have been somewhere else. They reported that Saudi Arabia is in talks with, they could be, quote, don't quote me, don't fact check me on this, but they might be in talks.
Don't fact check you or fact check you?
Fact check me, yes,
okay.
but don't.
Apparently,
they might be.
Check them.
They might be in talks with China to have the yuan be the backer for oil instead of the U.S. dollar. When I heard that, I was like, "Oh man!"
Have who be the backer?
The yuan, China, the Chinese yuan. And I mean, they you guys see that Biden tried calling the Saudis and they pretty much just sent it to voicemail.
Yeah, so we got a whole lot of sand here. Why don't you go pound some of it? It's like goodbye.
Yeah, and then they invited Xi Jinping to go visit, and so apparently now the talk that's what they're saying. The talks are that the yuan might be the new reserve currency for oil, and if that happens, the petrodollar is gone, man. The dollar is just it's in the gutter. Absolutely, you're gonna be shoveling it like what is it? What was the German currency that the people were shoveling into the gutters? The
Weimar Republic. They're shoveling the German dollar into the gutters. But I mean, but the thing is though too is that what you hear like AOC, Psaki, Biden, Harris, anybody who's on the left that's a prominent figure that's speaking about this, and then the people who just echo this stuff. What they keep saying is that we just need to stop drilling, period. What they don't understand is how much stuff comes from oil, right? A fraction of it is a decent fraction goes to gas, right? For our vehicles, diesel, stuff like that. But over 53% of it, I think it's like 53 to 57% of it goes into everything
else.
Everything.
Yep.
So you stop drilling. All right. Good luck, because you're not going to be able to get the clothes you want. You're not going to be able to get the food you want. You're not going to be able to get the solar panels that you want, because that's made with oil.
I mean, let's just set aside like the material things, right? Medicine. Most of it is petroleum based medicines, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's what happened when I think it was the Rockefeller sort of switched over medication into that form of binding, right?
Yeah, I mean, you can look up, since we've been using fossil fuels. The better term is hydrocarbons. But since we've been using hydrocarbons, the death rate, especially when it comes to newborns, right, has drastically decreased. Mm-hmm. Well, why? Medicine, right? Medical advancements, hospitals with power, reliable power, 24/7, 365. That doesn't come from solar. That does not come from wind. That comes from diesel, coal, or nuclear. Yeah. And some places hydro, depending on if you're close enough to one. But I think. Like pie in the sky, if this was to go the right way, even though I don't want to see it go this way, the bad way, but a good way I could see this going into is pushing them into nuclear, forcing them into nuclear. Because we see Bill Gates starting to use these like micronuclear generators now.
Reactors.
Isn't nuclear like the cleanest?
Yeah.
Nuclear is absolutely the cleanest. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, but everybody's freaked out, of course, because of, the Chernobyl show, which is actually a pretty good show. But they fact checked that, and they're just like, there's a lot of inconsistencies and false information in there. But it's over for the most part. It's pretty accurate. Yeah. It's like, but clearly nuclear is the best way to go if you want to have the amount of electrical that you want to have.
Well, I don't understand the push to go to. Why does it have to be a zero-sum game? It's like we either go electric or we go oil. Like, why can't we just have all of them? Like the solar and weather, they're not reliable enough to power the amount that we need daily, right?
Yeah, I think right now we get about 20% of our our energy through renewables. 20%. You know,
Right.
the rest is fossil fuels and obviously nuclear. I think it's like another 20% of nuclear. But
Nah, nuclear's like 12.
is it 12? Is it less than 20?
Shutting down nuclear power plants across the country. It's
Well,
like
I guess maybe it was like 20% before they started shutting down. But I think it's just the, you know.
Meanwhile, Germany and France are turning their nuclear plants back on.
Yeah. And what I was saying, I think it's because of the narrative, right? People have been pushing, you know, this Green New Deal, the Green New, you know, world for so long that, you know, if they can't backpedal anymore, right? Their whole platform is built on this narrative that if we stop drilling, if we stop using gas right now, right here, right now, like the world is saved, right? But they've been spouting this for like the last 100 years. It's like, oh, in 20 years, Florida's going to be underwater, New York's going to be underwater.
Yeah.
We're here like,
yeah.
You know,
Obama clearly isn't worried about global warming.
Neither is
'cause he
Nancy
bought a house
Pelosi.
right on the beach.
I mean, Nancy Pelosi isn't either. She just bought like a
Beachfront property.
beachfront property.
So you think it's more just talking points that is
absolutely,
never
man.
actually going to
So
come to fruition?
yeah, it's the you know, what is it?
It's just telling people what they want to hear.
Yeah, I'm out here. It's like, you know, I'm going to support this. So I'm going to put this flag or this saying on my Facebook picture
So you can
or
get
my
votes
Instagram
and
picture.
support.
You know, you're
Yeah.
just, you know, the word is slipping my mind right now, but you're just showing everybody. It's like, you know,
Virtue
you're virtue signaling. Yeah, that's all you're doing. You're virtue signaling. So this is like a massive virtue signal, right? So the U.S. we're completely 100% zero oil, right? Well, the rest of the world ain't going to do that.
Well, that was always been my biggest argument when we talk about like climate change, zero emissions and stuff. Like, even if the U.S. bought on board and went completely zero emissions, what are you going to say to China? What are you going to say to these other countries that may not care about climate change?
It doesn't even have to be that far. Like Mexico is one of the biggest producers of oil too. They're not going to just be like, we're going to stop, you know, producing oil. Like it's not going to happen. It's so critical to their infrastructure and economy that they're like, why are we even listening to the U.S. about this stuff? Like we're not about this woke ideology, you know?
Yeah.
And that's really what's pushing it.
Or what we're going to do is we're going to export all of our pollution to India, to China, to Indonesia, to Venezuela, to Saudi Arabia. It's like, oh, we're good here. We're not polluting here. No, you sent it overseas. That pollution is still going to occur.
Yeah.
But, you know, it's just, it's not happening. I'm not doing it, but I'm still driving the vehicles and doing all the things that cause it that are made over in these countries now.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's the connotation is very similar to like with lead production back in the, I forgot when the U.S. stopped like mining and smelting lead here in the U.S. They just ship that over to China and let China do that, and then they ship it right back, you know, in the form of bullets, in the form of, you know, anything that requires lead. So it's like we're just what is it called, outsourcing it.
Yeah.
But we're still on the same planet, you know. It's still gonna happen.
And like, I'm all for taking care of the planet, but getting rid of such a major contributor of like our daily life.
It's literally part of being a Christian.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah. we are given this earth. It is in our trust, and it's up to us to take care of it.
Right.
I don't like seeing pollution in the oil. I don't like seeing turtles with straws in their nose. Granted, that's not from us. It's from China and India.
No, it's masks now. Discarded masks.
Yeah. And by the way, I hate drinking out of paper straws. They're terrible. They suck. Nobody likes them.
Yeah. Yeah. Those are freaking. I feel like they dissolve in your freaking mouth.
Yeah, but hey, but the good thing is, guys, is that the United Auto Workers are going to have great, solid jobs, and we're going to get to drive these, as we know, reliable American electric powered vehicles.
Well, here's a kind of a devil's advocate. Like, let's say we do go all electric. So I was talking with my wife about this. I was like, Tesla, having driven some of their Teslas, those things are awesome.
Yeah.
The only downside to them, though, is
you don't have $150,000 for one.
Well, that I can't afford the price tag of it. But I'm also like, on a practical day to day, like a gas powered car, you can fill up in a couple minutes. It's like with a battery, you got to charge the thing for 8 hours?
No. They charge
in like 15 minutes.
Yeah, they do. They have high. They have
like 15 minutes. Yeah.
Yep. So when you go to the charging station, you can charge up in like 30 minutes or something like that. It's real quick.
Yeah. There's misconceptions about electric vehicles and be like, oh, they're not, you know, they're not the most reliable thing because, you know, they don't work in the cold. Which, granted, yes, in very, very cold weather, they do not work. The batteries will die.
Well, Tesla has they have a heater on their batteries, but they're the only ones that have it.
They're the only ones, but even then, some of them have failed, and
Yeah.
but that's the thing,
Technology.
it progresses, right? It fails, and they find a workaround, and I think a new battery was just invented, and companies are like scrambling to try to be able to get it.
Have they had this like charging where it takes like 15 minutes? How long have they had that for? Because I had
I
a
don't
buddy,
know.
I had
For
a
a
buddy
while.
that was
For a while.
that was a mechanic at Tesla, and he was saying that you have to charge it for like
It used to be
8 hours.
Yeah.
No, it used to be. So, and it also depends on your cabling. So I am not an electrician, but I do know that you have like 270 and 120, and depending on what you have in your garage that you hook it up to, if you have the 120, of course, it's going to take forever and a day to charge up your vehicle. But if you have the 270 or whatever, where it's like basically comes straight from the power lines in your car, it's like super quick.
Yeah, I think back in the day when Teslas first came out, they had like the regular basic chargers, and then they had the superchargers, right? And the superchargers were, I think, higher currents, and they could charge your Tesla quicker. And then the other ones were the ones that took a longer time to charge.
Oh, okay.
But nowadays, there's also competitors to the Tesla charging stations, which they're pretty much all superchargers now, right? So they can all charge within like 10
that's
15
good to
minutes.
know, because when me and my wife were talking about it, I was like, I think once they figure out a way to do that where it can be almost as quick as just filling up your gas tank, then I think you probably will see a lot more. Well, I guess not anymore, because the 35K Tesla that they're not selling those.
Yeah, but
anymore.
it's like $10 to fill up.
Yeah.
Like I have several coworkers that have Teslas.
Yeah.
From the high end ones to the lower end ones, the $50,000 low end ones. But they're like, it's like $10 to fill up. Like when they go to the charging station, by the gas stations or whatever, they go to one of the charging stations, takes
And
them
it's
like
not even that.
like
most
20
people
minutes
that
or
have
whatever, and it's like $10.
Most people that have Teslas nowadays have charging stations at home, right? Or their apartment complexes have charging stations that they can park in.
But here comes the problem again, right? We're not going to use oil, we're not going to use coal, and we're not going to use these hydrocarbons. Where are you going to get this energy from? It's not going to magically come out of the sky. As much as they like to think that solar that's what's going to be the savior of all of this, that's what's going to be the problem solver of all of this, it's not. It simply isn't. We're not there yet when it comes to solar. You can't store the power yet that they think you can. They think it's like we can collect all the solar from the solar panels and can just go into these batteries. It doesn't work that way.
Yeah, I mean, what is it? The law of return of something, It's Newton's law of energy or something like that. You have to expend energy to create energy.
Mm-hmm.
And
it's like fission versus fusion, nuclear reactors.
I mean, it's just people are oblivious to where things come from, right? Energy, food, things that just exist, like a coffee cup or a computer. Like they think that things just appear. I saw the funniest meme. It was AOC when it was the trucker convoy stuff happening in Canada, and she's like, I don't care if truckers stop rolling. I get my food from the grocery store. Right? And I mean it just resounded with me that most people that's exactly their way of thinking, man. It's always going to be at the grocery, and when it's not there, they flip out because their Pop-Tarts are on the shelves.
And then did you see the video of the trucker that it went viral, and it showed at the gas pump it was like over $1,000 to fill up his truck.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah,
and he was all like, just wait till your milk is $11 a gallon.
Exactly.
I was like,
that's the thing. It's anybody, what's AOC? What's her degree again? Because nobody can remind me what her degree is.
I think it
Mixology?
economics.
Yeah. So her actual degree, she has a degree in economics, but yet she has no idea how economics works. And it's like, okay, supply and demand, right? We have less oil, right? Less oil at the station that's available, right? There's more of a demand, which means that what's going to increase? Prices are going to increase. Okay. So when prices increase, now we're talking about, just like you said, increased food, right? We're talking about increased products that you buy. Oh yeah, I can just go get it at the grocery store. I don't have to worry about it. Well, your prices are going up. Yeah, she makes what, $140,000 a year. I think they just gave themselves a pay raise too. So they're making
a 20% pay raise, something like that.
They're making a butt ton of money, right?
Yeah.
So they don't have to worry about it. They don't have to worry about the average person that's making $50,000 a year or a couple, that the gallon of milk is $11, and I'm probably going wide right on this, or really high, but it's going to increase. I mean, what's a gallon of milk right now? $4? Close to $4?
No, I think the last one we bought was like almost closer to $6.
$6.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I was like closer to 6.
Well, you're closer. You're in the city. I'm out in the country. So.
Yeah, you guys just go milk cows out there.
Hey man, straight from the teat.
Still get your milk delivered by a horse.
Yeah, but
Fresh off of Bessie.
But yeah, the price of oil goes up, then everything else goes up. I mean, it's unintended consequences.
Yeah.
In some cases, I think intended consequences, as I read this article about. They want this stuff to happen because then you have to make this jump. What they don't understand is all the stuff that's going to happen downstream.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I also think, the reason that this is happening too, I think on a global scale, is the other countries are enemies, quote, quote, see the United States as weakened, right, politically and I guess domestically with everybody that's living here. And they're kind of starting to push to get rid of the dollar as the overseer for the currency. Right?
Yeah, they see
opportunity, man.
They see America up here stabbing itself, and they're just like, no, don't.
No, please don't.
Oops, I pushed you.
Oh no. It's like when you see your enemy hurting itself, it's like, don't get in its way, man.
Yep.
Keep allowing it to do it. And that's what's happening right now. All of our friends are just like, no, please stop.
They're like, wait, did somebody call my name? Oh.
All right, cool. Well, with that said, on the topic of climate change, why don't we jump into this this other article by The Atlantic, which is a doozy in itself. The worst thing about nuclear war is that it would accelerate climate change.
All right.
Oh my gosh.
We need to give credit where credit is due. Unlike Kyle, this is not a scientist from the internet.
Oh my.
This is Robinson Meyer, right? He's from The Atlantic. And he said that the worst aspect of nuclear war is that it will accelerate climate change. This is him. This quite literally, if you're worried about rapid, catastrophic changes to the planet's climate, then you must be worried about nuclear war. That is because on top of killing tens of millions of people, even a relatively minor exchange of nuclear weapons would wreak havoc on the planet's climate in enormous and long-lasting ways. Okay. I'm not even going to read the rest of it.
I love how he glossed over the tens of millions of people that would be gone.
Dude, it's
just tens of millions. It's not hundreds. It's all good.
Yeah. Okay, so Kyle, let's just say this.
I think there's too much focus on the climate change. Not enough on the tens of millions of people that would be gone.
Kyle, let's just say this. Kyle, if somebody shoots you, what's the first thing on your mind? You've been shot.
Yep.
Is climate change the number one thing on your mind?
It's a close second.
Close second. Close second. Mike?
Yeah. The poor bees, man.
The murder hornets.
The murder hornets are just decimating those guys.
Well, on the bright side, nuclear war will completely decimate the murder hornet population. It's like, come on, dude. It's
oh my gosh. You just know it's so cringe when you just start reading the article and you just start throwing up a little bit. Who writes this?
Like, man? When I read this stuff, I have to take a break sometimes because it's just like my brain hurts. I'm like, this guy has a job. He does this. Like, how can I get this job?
Oh my gosh. Can you imagine?
I want to write this stuff.
He's got to this. Did you guys go straight to the top?
Did you guys see that thing where you type into Google and you say something racism? Like, you could literally type in almost anything racism and something will pop up. So somebody put in air is racist, and there's literally articles that people wrote where air is racist. That's this article. Is nuclear war green?
Can you imagine?
No, you idiot. We know that.
Can you imagine how many editors had to go through before they were like, man, it's a Pulitzer.
Dude, that was
a Pulitzer.
That was a slow day at the Atlantic.
It's a Pulitzer, man.
That was a slow day at the Atlantic. The editor was like, oh God.
He's looking on his desk. He's like nuclear war is green or murder hornets are killing bees.
Dang, somebody took the murder hornet. Damn it. Somebody already got it. Yeah, it's insane. The last thing, if I'm getting nuked, the last thing I'm worried about is what's happening to the planet, okay? I'm worried about my family.
Never say never.
Well, granted, do you even have enough time to worry? It's like depending on where you're
I'm
at.
worried about not dying. Yeah. That's what I'm worried about.
My skin melting off, being vaporized. Well, no. Actually,
my Tesla not working from the EMP blast.
Oh, man. Yeah.
It's like, dang it.
all the fallout that's going to make all the solar panels useless. It's like, oh God.
Can you imagine? So the way to go green on nuclear war is just do EMP blast.
To go green on E.
That way it just like decimates all the electronics and everything, and nobody can operate the cars anymore.
Yeah,
and then people have to walk.
Well, I mean, the big thing now is that
regenerates after that.
Like nobody's worried about a nuclear war anymore, right? Everybody's so intertwined, whether it's the U.S. and Russia, China and the U.S., India and Pakistan, Venezuela and Mexico. It doesn't matter. We're all tied in so much that it's like if one person fired off a nuclear missile, you're destroying everybody's economy. It's done. Yeah. It's over. Right?
It's very interconnected. Yeah.
Oh my gosh! Look at this! Look at this line. That's right. On top of killing tens of millions of people as if that were just a minor detail, with the real trouble being that the sumptuous beachfront properties of Barack Obama and Joe Biden might end up underwater. Oh, no. Oh, my gosh.
Can we get this guy on the show?
Oh, please. I mean, like, walk us through step by step.
He's gonna be like, it was a joke, guys. It was a joke. You took it out of context. Like, no, I'm reading your quote. This is what you said.
It was a slow day at the office that day.
What if he just like wrote it up just as a joke and he's like, oh my gosh, they freaking published this. I just sent it as a memo joke.
It was a drunk. Came home drunk and just wrote up a report and he's like, yeah. Did I send that? Man. I did. No.
Oh, God.
His editor is like, this is great.
We need more reporting like this.
Yeah.
Should have just sent a nude.
It's so out of touch.
I mean, this just goes to show you the depravity of the legacy media nowadays, man.
There's no journalism anymore.
They have nothing to write about anymore, so they write about all this garbage. And I'm sure we could find like dozens of other articles that are just like this, like, why we got to kill all the dogs because that would make everything go green. They poop too much or something.
Yeah, kids. Yeah, we're worried about so much things that don't matter, like schools, right? We need to teach kids all these stupid things about sexuality or whatever, but they can't do basic math, and we're trying to teach them that 2 + 2 = 5. So we clearly have our priorities misaligned.
Oh man, dude.
I blame my parents' generation. It's their fault. It's the boomers' fault.
Yeah, I mean,
I agree. It's their fault.
How did the generations?
They're too old to fight back.
But how did the generations degrade so fast, man? It feel it just seems like in a matter of a second, like everything just, the shift, the mentality, everything just went to crap.
I don't know. I think a lot of it. Part of it is education. I think that, I'm not a journalist, but I've heard many people who've gone to these universities to get their degree in journalism, and they're just like, it's complete garbage, man. They're not teaching anything in there about journalism. Not even that. I mean, I went to business school, and I think the school I went to was pretty decent. I went to Clark Lane University. I'm not just saying that because it was my school, but it was pretty decent, as far as what we're teaching. But I was also learning something that was real world. I was doing supply chain management, right? So it's like my base degree was like, you have to do algebra 2, trig, calc 2. It's like all these heavy math-based things because you had to understand, these numbers, these how to do basic things like Excel. You don't need calculus to know how to do Excel, but you know what? It does come into play. And, any heavy math-based degrees, I think are you're going to take pretty seriously. But then when you get this degree in like lesbian dance theory, underwater basket weaving, it's like, what do you need a degree?
That's a great major.
Yeah. What do you need a degree in that for? Like, why are you paying $100,000 to get this degree when you can just go out and do your interpretive dance in front of everybody at the subway in New York?
They don't know the steps, man. They got to learn the steps.
I think that was my biggest critique of academia.
Yeah.
Was not that theory was bad, like, so you have to know the theory behind stuff, but I felt like it was an overemphasis on theory and not enough on, like, okay, well, how do you solve that problem? Like, coming up with solutions. Because I'd have professors that would talk all day long about, we're doing this wrong or we're doing this wrong. And then I'd ask them, like, well, what do you propose we do? Or if you have a solution that you think would work, why don't you, go try and put it into play? And they'd be like, no, I don't want to do that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we
failed. I'm pretty
sure I know. Class. But I'm pretty sure I know your guys' answers on this. Do you really need a degree for everything under the sun? Do you need a degree for journalism? Do you need a degree for business? Do you need a degree like basic business, not like what I do? I do real business. But you know,
the Hornets are doing business.
But you know, it's like, you know, broadcasting, whatever. It's like, no, go work, go do that job. You learn on the fly. I mean, I can even argue, even in my field, I could have just gone into it easily and just learned it and worked my way up without having to go and get a degree in this crap. I mean, at one point in time, you didn't have to have a degree to be a lawyer.
Yeah.
Really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, I mean,
at least let me say this. Let me make a correction. I think it was just like a 2-year night school or something like that. It wasn't it wasn't like a 4-year degree.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I think it's, you know, the whole trade apprentice kind of stuff has just gone out the window. Nobody cares about it because everybody's so dainty nowadays, man. Nobody wants to get their hands dirty, right?
Well, what about
but then again, everybody wants pay equality, right? And you know, equal opportunity. It's like not everything's equal, man. Like, are you willing to go, you know, lay brick and mortar, right? And like make $100,000, or do you want to sit and write articles like this for climate change and make $100,000? Like, what's you know, what is...
Personally, I want a crabfish. You make $60,000 in like 3 days. It's the deadliest job on earth, but it's like, hey, after 3 days, you're good.
But I want it to be in like Bermuda. Calm waters.
I do think a lot of people who come out of college with their undergrads, I think they are given that kind of false sense of security that you have a degree now, you're going to start at this salary.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And it's like, that's just not true.
A lot of people I went to college with had this idea. It's like, I'm going to make $100,000 coming out with the degree. It's like, you don't know anything, dude.
Yeah.
You don't know jack.
Yeah, the funniest thing is when you see like Indeed job postings and they're like looking for 20 years of experience. But it's like entry level. It's like paying you know, $10,000 a year.
I saw one where it was like it was some programming language that this guy developed, and then he saw a job posting for it where it said you needed 5 years of experience. He's like, I just wrote this a year ago. He's like, how can you have 5 years of experience in this? You know, but yeah, it comes down to, you know, I think education is part of it. You know, going back to your original, you know, question of why we feel like society is going down. I think, you know, education is part of it. I think media has a massive thing in this, you know, because everything for them is about, if it bleeds, it leads. We're going to fan the flames on anything that makes us money and gets us views.
Programming, man. That's the thing. Yeah. You just want to program you into, you know,
whatever
they want.
And I think the upcoming generation, they see all these YouTubers and stuff like that, and they think, they literally think that that's going to be them, you know, that they're going to make it big on YouTube.
Hey, what do you got against YouTube, man?
Yeah, what do you think we're trying to do here?
What do you think we're trying to do here?
We're going to make it big. We're going straight to the top.
Don't be fooled. We all have full-time jobs. We work in the real world.
But yeah, like
I think I research bees. I'm out of work right now.
Like a person. Like have you heard that
murder bees?
that job title, like chicken sexer? Like
chicken sexer?
Yeah. So they determine what sex they are. They're called a chicken sexer.
Get out of here.
That's it. You never heard of this?
No.
Have you ever watched Dirty Jobs?
I watched Dirty Jobs. Yeah, I've never seen that.
They had one where they're at a poultry farm, and you know they raised the chickens, and so there's this person, and they basically like flipped a little baby chick over, and it's called a chicken sexer. They can figure out what sex is, and they separate them, you know, males and females, or poults or whatever they call them. But it's like with the murder hornets, you know, it's like, would you be a murder hornet sexer?
Can you imagine putting that on your Tinder profile
for a price?
Oh man.
Can you do that on OnlyFans?
Oh, that's what we got to do. We got to start an OnlyFans where we just go around checking any animal sex. It doesn't matter what they are. Is that a donkey? I'm pretty sure I know what that is. No, you got to go check.
You just gotta you gotta do like an OnlyFans page, but it's all about things stinging your junk.
Oh.
Coyote Peterson's got nothing on. Oh, it stung you in the arm? Yeah, you're tough.
What's that guy from Jackass? He like contacts us. He's like, I love your work.
Steve-O.
He's like, guys, I gotta get you guys on.
Hey, that's the way to go on OnlyFans. Like we've talked about this a couple times. It's like, you know, it's like just, you know, you're gonna do an OnlyFans job or whatever. I saw this lady. She was a cop. I don't know how much cops make in most cities. I think it's different based on if you're in
They
New
make
York.
at least 100,000.
Yeah, but I mean, if you're in Podunk,
Yeah.
Idaho, you're probably making 45 or something like that, right? But so this lady, she was a cop, and I don't know what city she was in, but all of a sudden she started doing like OnlyFans, and she was making like $200,000 like a week or some crap like that.
Oh my gosh.
And so when I always hear this, it's like, oh, men and women, you have this pay discrepancy and blah blah blah, and I'm like, you can literally anybody. I don't care what you look like. If you're a female, you can go on OnlyFans and you can make some cash. I can't. There is no OnlyFans for me unless I want to get stung in the junk by some murder hornets, which I don't.
I'm making my account right now.
But,
yeah, man. I don't know, dude.
And that's the thing, though, too, right? It's like, oh, I don't have to go to college anymore. I can go strip. I can go work on OnlyFans and make,
from home. It's like stripping from home. It's a remote stripper.
I'm curious if anybody has done a study like how many accounts were made during COVID for OnlyFans.
Oh, I'm sure.
Oh man! But do you remember when OnlyFans said we're gonna ban porn on there? Everybody's like, what? But you are a porn site.
Literally
like,
what this is.
This is literally why we're on here.
And then they backtracked. Like, it was
immediately.
like a day later.
I think they lost like billions in like a matter of hours. And can you imagine all those remote strippers? Like we're gonna lose our income.
How did we get to this? Like, I think it's my fault.
All right. Well, on that happy note.
Yeah. Cool. Well, all right.
Yeah, get out of here.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's.
Yeah, turn off his mic.
Yeah, I'm just gonna turn off your mic. For those of you who don't know, Kyle, he's on his way to.
He has a job. It's called being a dad.
He's being a dad. Yeah. Cool. Well, yeah. On the more serious note, I think obviously war is still happening in Ukraine. I think it's intensifying, and on a really sad note, I think I saw this article today, and it's just sad, man, because I saw a lot of left-leaning organizations kind of like mocking the story and the people that unfortunately died. So the stories right now this is reporting from The Guardian. Fox News cameraman and producer killed in Ukraine. It's very sad. Two Fox News journalists, producer Alexandra Kushnova and cameraman Pierre Zakrewiski.
You got it.
Yeah, nice. Were killed in the attack outside of Kiev, which injured correspondent Benjamin Hall on U.S. network. The U.S. network and this journalist confirmed on Tuesday. I think I saw a couple articles by other news organizations that they were mocking these guys, man.
Really?
Yeah, they were like just.
I hadn't heard the story.
Yeah,
like I heard somebody had gotten hurt. A couple of journalists had gotten hurt, and like MSNBC was making fun of it or something like that.
Yeah, so they were making fun of the correspondent that got hurt. He's I think in critical condition or something in the hospital. But these two other ones they actually ended up being killed. And yeah, these other news organizations, man, they were just like making fun of these guys. I didn't have I was so disgusted. I didn't read those articles, man. But I just saw like the headlines, and they're just horrible stuff, man.
And I heard like war correspondents, that's like one of the lowest paying job. Like you almost have to pay for your own stuff to like get out there. You have to pay for your own body armor. Yeah. You have to like, coordinate all of your own, travel, whatever it is. It's like, damn, that's rough.
Yeah, man. I mean, this is literally like the epitome of journalism, right? Like they're going to like the most dangerous place in the world. This is literally what journalists should be doing, right? I mean, I'm not advocating for everybody to go into like an active battlefield, but I mean, the fact that people are making fun of them, that they got killed, man, is just and hurt as well is just, I mean, complete shame on those people, man.
I mean, kudos for them for being out there, for trying to get the story out there. And again, I don't care what media organization they work for. If you're out there and you're trying to get the truth out there, good for you.
Yeah.
Good for
absolutely.
you. God be with you. I hope you're protected, that nothing happens to you. And when something unfortunate like this does happen, it's a shame. And the world is not a better place because these people are gone.
Yeah, I mean, just because they were affiliated with Fox News, man, I think that's whatever hurts my enemy is it's good for me. But I mean that's just the world we live in now, and I don't know, man. I think this would have been a good opportunity for all the the media to come together and be like, hey, these were two of ours, right? But everybody's so segregated by parties now that they don't even care if other people die. So.
And the to the politic perspective of it, where they always say Fox News represents the right. Yeah, you can have an argument for that, right? But
Yeah.
as we, anybody who's conservative clearly sees Fox is moving more towards center to left, right? They're moving away from the right, and they're doing it at a pretty steady pace. There's only a couple people that are there that are still, more right leaning. Tucker being one of them, but they're going after him now. They're trying to ice him out. Not a big fan of Sean Hannity. The guy personally, I don't have any issues with. I'm just not a fan of his show.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of these people are just neocons, right? They've just been part of the establishment for so long that they're obviously everybody is entitled to change their opinions throughout their careers in life, but a lot of these people just pair whatever's popular is going to get them the ratings, right? I mean, that's the business that they're in nowadays.
Yeah,
journalism, mainstream journalism, I guess legacy journalism just isn't what it used to be.
See, but if I was getting into journalism, that would, like, a war correspondent would be what I would want to do. I'd be like,
yeah,
hey,
the
man,
raw
sign me
stuff,
up.
right?
Yeah, let me out there. Let me go see this stuff.
Right on the ground, like
especially
protest,
with
war,
technology the way it is now. Like, I remember, I think it was Tim Pool was talking about, how he kind of made his fame was when he was out on the Occupy Wall Street. And he was doing 24-hour live streaming. So people like bringing in batteries. But then you had his buddy, what's that guy's name? He's in Florida now.
Luke Rukowski?
Yeah, he had like a camcorder. And he would have to run home. He'd have to plug it into his computer. But it's like technology allowed someone like Tim Pool and others to be able to live stream right then and there. Anybody with a phone in their pocket, the technology is there. And so nowadays, like, for a war correspondent, it's like, man, the technology for you to be able to get your voice out is there.
Yeah, I think he's touched on Tim Pool's touched on it many times. Like, people are like, "Oh man, I want to do what you do. Like, I want to
go do it,
get big like you." He's like, "Okay, cool. Well, we'll go on and get it. Go couch surf and go to Ukraine and be on the ground and report the stuff, right?" And they're like, "What do you mean?" No, I want to sit at the desk and write articles like you do. He's like, that's not how I got big, right? I got to this point after a certain time, after I put in my work, after I did all this stuff. But, again, that goes back into, what people, graduate journalism school and they're like, oh, I'm going to make the big bucks immediately, right?
Yeah, you have to go through the process. You have to go through the crap, whether it's the military or whether it's, private sector. For me, when I was in the military, same thing. It's like, when you want to get to that point where, you're able to work independently. I was a corpsman, right? So worked independently with Marines. And it took me a while. They tried me out with these small little groups. Here's a little tryout here and there. Here's some crap you're not going to like. Here's some long hours, 2 weeks of maybe a couple hours sleep here and there. But it's like, this person doesn't complain. This person is always doing their job. Let's give them a shot. You work your way up. And then pretty soon it's like, I'm out there with like Marine Corps SWAT team and I'm doing coverage for them, or I'm going out with Special Operations Tactical Group and they're like, hey, Doc, you want to jump out of some helicopters? And then I go back and I tell the other corpsmen about it and they're like, you got to jump out of helicopters? Like, hell yeah, man.
What have you been doing? Yeah. Oh, I've just been shooting up penicillin on somebody's.
Yeah. And then eventually it was like, I got invited to, take the Marine Recon Indoc, and which I did. I passed and I was accepted the Marine Recon Pipeline. I didn't go for personal reasons. I had some stuff going on, but it took me a long time to get there, and then same thing in the private sector, it's like where I'm at now. Yeah. Where my degree is, I had no intentions of coming out of college making $100,000 a year.
Yep.
I knew I had to grind. My first paycheck coming out of college was $187.77. I still remember that paycheck to this day. My first actual salary job was like $45,000 a year. Yep. I was 29 years old. Right. So went to college later.
Yeah, but it's about the journey, not the destination, right? And people forget about that. They want to like just leapfrog and go to the very end and reap the rewards, but they don't want to slug through the crap like everybody else.
Yeah, go work those 16, 20-hour days. Go no sleep. Go work those really crappy jobs or those things that nobody wants to do. But after you do them and you keep your mouth shut, and you actually work efficiently, then those opportunities are going to be there for you. But it's not just going to be given to you.
Yeah. I mean, I think we're the last generation, man. I think we saw our parents, like, they were the ones that would like work, 12, 16 hours and they wouldn't give a crap.
We are not the same generation.
Mentally and spiritually, we're the same generation. But yeah, I mean, my dad, man, he worked like crazy hours sometimes, man, to get the job done, right? Food needed to be put on the table, family needed to be taken
Different
care
culture
of.
though, too.
Different culture, absolutely. The Hispanic family and man of the house and he needs to provide for the family, right? But I think just hard work, man, and ethics just have gone down the drain.
Well, how do you think that's affecting like the Hispanic culture? Like, you know, as far as nowadays what we're seeing,
It's entitlement, man. I mean, it's sad, but it's true. You know, as generations keep progressing, I think you know, as the standard of living rises for these generations when they started at such a low level, you know, and then suddenly like the next generation's like, oh man, they already have a head start, you know, and then like it just keeps getting bigger and, you know, better and better. Like, you know, hard work and like that just goes down the drain. Like the culture is lost, but at the same time, you know, it maybe not lost, but maybe changes into something else.
But the entitlement
right?
is a poison.
Yeah, I mean that progresses and even grows. It grows into greed. It grows into, you know, slothfulness, whatever it is, right? But and I'm not saying that, you know, every single one of, you know, new generations of you know, minorities and ethnic groups are, you know, are like that, but the vast majority are, just because of technology and, you know, ease of life and, you know, things are just easy nowadays compared to, you know, what our parents and our grandparents had it.
Yeah. Which I think is good, though. It's like having the technology to, I mean, you literally have everything at the tip of your fingertips, the entire world at the tip of your fingertips, but yet we have one of the most lax, weak generations coming out now, right? Now, there's good ones out there. Don't get me wrong. It's not everybody. But, you know, we're starting to get into this laziness, this, you know, give me free stuff, whatnot, when that's what, you know, the country was not built on. It was, we attracted those people that came here.
Entrepreneurs.
They wanted to build something. They wanted to take that risk. I mean, Thomas Sowell wrote a book, Ethnic America. I think he wrote it in 1981. And he spoke about the different cultures as they came here to the U.S., you know, so first like the German cultures, and then, you know, the English, the Spanish, the Irish, the blacks, the Asians. And then, of course, he breaks it down because he's like, there's no such thing as a black culture. There's no such thing as an Asian culture. You have Chinese culture, you have Japanese culture, you have East Indian culture, you have Irish culture. You know, it's like an Irish person is not an Italian, and they had completely different ideals when they came to this country and different ways that they came up. But the thing was, to get back on point, is that they came in here taking the crappy jobs, right? Yeah. So they came in doing the, you know, working in the fields, whatever it may be, the working in the sweatshops. Every single culture did it. Every culture did it. You know, because I see, it's like, you know, when you see the Hispanics, when they come across, like, oh, well, you know, they're out there working in the fields, or they're doing this, they're doing that. It's like, and they're also making a whole lot more money than they ever made anywhere else. But at the same time, what they are doing is they're setting themselves up for success for their family, because maybe not their generation, but the next generation, their children, will be ready for, you know, college in one generation, you know?
Yeah. I mean, it's all about setting up, you know, the next generation for success, right? I mean, that's why my parents came to the country, right? You know, they wanted me and my brother to have a better life and to, you know, be able to be successful and, you know, again, you know, have a better quality of life.
But somebody's got to pay those dues.
Somebody has to pay those dues, and, you know, the bill comes due eventually, right? Whether that be, you know, time away from your family, whether that be, you know, health, right? A lot of these people are working so many hours, so such tough jobs that, you know, it takes a toll on their health.
What are your thoughts on this, since we're going down this rabbit hole, and we're just gonna keep going down it? Screw it. Generational wealth. So, you know, let's say in your lifetime, you're running a business, which you are, you and your brother, and you guys become multimillionaires. But the government sees that when you die, hey, we get 50% of that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not about that whatsoever. I mean, you already taxed me throughout my career for the money. Why do you get an extra half of that money when?
Well, because it unequally benefits your children compared to somebody else.
I mean, but the whole reason that I make that money is for my children, right? I mean, I don't make it for Daddy Biden, right? So, yeah, I mean, the death tax, the wealth tax. I mean, that's absolutely absurd, man. I mean, the whole point of coming to this country is to, you know, build wealth, you know, like I said, have a better standard of living, provide for your family, the next generation, set them up so that they can just keep leapfrogging up, right? But again, you have that very top that, you know, that's that barrier, that ceiling. It's really hard to break through, right? To the next strata of, like, I guess, economic society, because the people up there don't want more people up there.
Well, you get the AOCs that, you know, they like the wealth tax. They like the idea of doing that, you know, because they sit there and they say, it's like, well, you know, I had to go to college and I have, $100,000 in debt. Well, you wouldn't have that debt if your family was wealthy and they were able to help you pay for college,
And again, I did not pressure you into getting that.
Yep, yeah, right.
That is a personal decision whatsoever that you made knowingly or unknowingly, because maybe you weren't taught right, or maybe because society says that you always need to get a loan to go to college. That is your choice to make.
Yeah, and if again, let's say you build this amazing business with your brother, and then, your kids come along. Your kids don't have to go to college to run your business.
Yep.
They can grow and be raised in the business and learn how to do it if that's what they say do. Like my dad, he's a chiropractor, right? I decided I didn't want to be a chiropractor. However, if I did, I would have lived a pretty good life, but I wanted to blaze my own path. But that opportunity was there.
Yeah.
I still would have had to go to chiropractic school for that, but I'm just saying it's like, in general, I think like if you build a trucking empire, you started with one truck and you're driving those 20-hour days or what? Well, you can't because of the government, but
stupid DOT.
11 hours a day. But then you buy another truck and then you invest in another truck and you keep investing in your business and you grow this shipping business, right? And then your kids come along. Your kids don't need licenses for that. They don't need a degree for that. You can bring them up in it. You give them or you don't necessarily give them a truck. You put them in a truck, drive.
Yep.
Learn.
Start them from the bottom. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, in the end, the government's always going to want to take a piece, man. No matter what, they're always going to do it. I mean, obviously, there's like loopholes around it, with trusts and, certain things to get around like the death tax and things like that, the inheritance tax. But the fact that they're already going to tax you more just because you die, I just want everybody to like picture that. When you die, you get taxed. You get taxed for dying. And your stuff that's already yours that you already pay taxes on.
It's worse if you don't have a will.
And it's worse if you don't have a will. That's absolutely right. But the government comes in and is like, oh, well, we need half of that. It's like, what? I don't think so, man. So I think it's just being knowledgeable and there's loopholes, man. You just gotta do your research.
What incentive is there for people coming over here? Say, for instance, again, your culture, right? You're Mexican. What incentive is there for Mexicans to come here, work their ass off to build an empire if they know that half of that money, if they build an empire, is gone?
Because life here is still infinitely better than anywhere else.
Okay.
Period. Right? I mean, I'm sorry, but are there countries out there that are great countries and have like, freedom and things like that? Absolutely. Yes. Well,
like Thomas Sowell said, though, why is it greedy for me to want my own money, but not greedy for you to take it?
Absolutely. And it's when people are like, well, you make too much money, I need to have some of it, or you need to pay my stuff off. Like,
pay your fair share.
Pay your fair share. I was like, I don't think so, man. Like, why don't you actually go and put in the work? I was like, oh well, I'm a minority. I didn't have that opportunity. I was like, there are millions of minorities examples, entrepreneurs that have done it. Mm-hmm. Obviously, you had the same opportunities as they did. So, like I said, it's still infinitely better to live here and to try to create your own empire and live the American dream, man. I mean,
the personal gratification that you get from busting your butt,
hard work, man, hard work,
and seeing, it's like, man, even if you have an apartment, right, and it's a small apartment, but everything in there is yours.
Yours.
Yeah, your car outside's a POS, but it's yours. Mm-hmm.
There's nothing like doing that last payment on your car, man.
I just paid mine off. I love it. Of course, everybody's trying to get me into a Tesla now. You got to get a Tesla now. It's like, I just paid off my vehicle. No.
I love it, man. Like the moment you pay off something, it doesn't matter if it's like, you were layawaying like a $100 iPad or something, mm-hmm. right? Like the moment you finish that payment, dude, and it's yours, yep. You could go outside and break it for all you care, man. But it's yours. Yeah. Nobody can take it from you.
I've owned like 5 cars in my life. I ride them till the wheels fall off, man.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. But it's like, when I pay them off, the 2 best cars I've ever had, the one I have now is a Toyota. The one before that was a Honda. It was a Honda Civic.
No Beamers?
Doors.
What?
No absolutely
Audis?
Not.
What? Mercedes?
That Honda Civic was amazing. I drove that thing forever. I had it paid off, and I drove it for like another 5 years free, free and clear. Yeah. Now my Toyota that I have now, I love that little car, man.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys follow Dave Ramsey. Yeah. He's a great financial advisor. Obviously, we don't give financial advice on this podcast. We just give our opinions, but he's a great person to go and follow his podcast and show. And I think they did a study on millionaires, the biggest study on millionaires in the country. and they found like certain things that all of them have in common, and one of them is like owning your own house, like having zero debt, having some money saved away.
Yep.
And it's true, man. I mean, the whole system is set up for you to be in debt and beholden to the government or some entity. And the moment you're not, that's when they're like, hey, you might wanna buy a new car. I'll give you like 0 interest on it.
Yeah, well, that was Robert Kiyosaki's idea, like when he wrote the book Rich Dad Poor Dad, and then he had
great book.
the rat race idea, and it's like that's what you're in every day, the rat race, But it's like as soon as you can figure out a way to get off that wheel, man,
life is good, man.
Because somebody's like, it's like who's really rich, the guy that's making $1 million a year, but he's got a $800,000 house, he's got several cars, he's up to his eyeballs in debt, or the guy that makes $2,000 and he's clear and free every month.
Just putting it away, man. Growing oranges.
or working your OnlyFans page.
Your mom porn, whatever. just vacuuming your house.
Oh my gosh,
shirtless.
Dude. Yeah.
So yeah, man. I mean, Robert Kiyosaki is amazing. He's also a big precious metal stacker for gold and silver. For those of you who don't know, I love that. Precious metal commodities is a great investment into your own personal financial security. I think especially with certain economic difficulties about to face us.
Do you think with what's coming on, like you remember in World War II, you remember how Roosevelt went after gold?
Yeah.
Do you think that's going to happen now?
Yeah, I believe there's going to be a gold confiscation, as possibly a silver confiscation as well. They're going to make it illegal again to trade silver, like they did. I think it was it in the 50s or 60s. Yeah, I believe it's coming, man. Especially since all these industries are going to want all these precious metals, because gold is a huge high tensile conductivity metal or something like
electronics.
that. Electronics, silver, all that stuff goes into electronic vehicles and stuff. So
it's like a big business, and taking old like electronics, I think, and they just like throw them in these acid baths, and they just pull the gold out of it.
Yeah, palladium, rhodium, all this kind of stuff. They try to take off those electronics, because you can make good money doing it.
Yeah, but if you have a system doing it, if it's just you by yourself with a pair of pliers, you ain't making nothing.
There's still people that do it, man. I mean, what is it? What's an ounce of gold at right now? I think it's like at 2,000.
19. No, it went down.
Did it go under two grand?
It's like 19. Little over 19.
Yeah, so imagine you spend like 4 to 6 hours like plying away, little conductors of gold, and then you smelt them down, and you make 2 grand.
Yeah, but then what's the percentage of that gold too? Is it like 22 karat? Is it 14 karat? Is it 18 karat? Because then it's a different value.
Yeah, I guess. But I mean, if you keep doing that,
Oh no, I'm not knocking it. I'm just saying, But it's like, hey, yeah, go for it. Start your little business with your little pliers. Build that into an empire. Yep. Stack your gold.
Stack your gold, man.
But, I think with what's coming down the pipe, I think that there is going to be a lot of pain and a lot of suffering coming really soon. And again, there's going to be this. I think it's going to be a confiscation of gold and silver and precious metals, and that's going to again de-incentivize people from the generational wealth.
Yep.
I think it's a personal attack anyway, but
I mean, the previous generations, they were big on gold and silver, man, because of the depression and what came because of it.
I mean, the coins actually had
had value,
silver and copper in it at some point in time.
Yeah. I don't know if you've seen, but nickel is like through the roof. They actually stopped the trading of nickel because of the whole war in Ukraine, and Russia being one of I think it's like the biggest nickel exporter in the world.
Well, yeah, and so I think I talked to you about this a little bit earlier, but like, have you heard about the COVID stuff that's starting to come up in China now?
What is it?
They're
like locking down again, aren't they?
Again. So
like the whole country.
Yeah. So I know they were talking about, I don't know if we can pull it up on here, the map.
Oh yeah. And so why don't you tell us what map this is?
I think it's called Maritime. What's the name of it? Is it Maritime
traffic?
Marine
traffic.
Anybody, you can go on here. You can look this up. There's a website that I watch. It's really good. It's called What the Ship. He talks a lot about this stuff. He used to be a merchant marine, but he has far more knowledge on this than I do. But it's a good website. You can go on and look at it. So a lot of people remember that during COVID, we had a lot of the ships that were parked off the harbor in LA, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so they're still there. However, LA was like, hey, get away from the coast. So they pushed them out towards Baja, Mexico, right? But anyway, COVID, I guess, is picking back up in China, and so they're starting to lock everything down. So if you go on the map and you go up towards like Beijing,
so we got Beijing right here,
and you zoom in.
Zoom into here.
Yep. Keep going. Go out to the port. Go down. Yep. Zoom in more. So you see all the circles? A circle means that the ship is anchored.
Wow. See if we can zoom out a little bit.
Yeah, those ships are anchored. They're just sitting
look,
there.
even here, just like, everything's anchored.
Yeah, those are probably getting offloaded, but all these ships out there, those are all just sitting and waiting. It's the same way if you go to like down to Hong Kong or
if you look, they're holding them a bunch up here.
Yeah, go down a little bit right there. You see that right on the bottom? Scrolling a little bit. They're all just parked.
Wow.
So I think green is food and red is fuel. If I'm
Look at all these food ships, man.
Yeah, so it's all grain. It's just sitting there.
Yeah, I mean, if people don't know, grain price is through the roof. I think it's up like 70% because Ukraine and I think Russia they pretty much supply 70% of the wheat in the whole world, and it's about to just.
Well, yeah, and the thing is like to credit in LA, they were clearing up a bit. They were starting to get some stuff moving.
Correct.
I'm not giving any credit to the government whatsoever on that. A lot of that had to do with those independent truckers.
Let's check the United States. Let's see the West Coast. What's going on?
Oh, go to Houston.
Houston.
Yeah, go to Houston.
Oh my gosh.
You're going to see a lot of parked vessels, and they're going to be all red.
What is red again, Brian?
Oil.
Fuel. Man, look at that.
Just all parked. And there's grain out there too. It's parked too. Just sitting there waiting. You know, just for craps and giggles, go to the Black Sea.
The Black Sea.
Yeah. There you go. Yeah, scroll in right there. Yeah, go up a little bit. There you go. Scroll in towards the Ukraine area.
Oh, there's nothing there, man. They got a blockade going.
It's all gone.
Man, look at that. Where Paul don't ask. you got the Leroy Jenkinses.
Oh, they're taking that oil from Russia. They're taking it to Africa. So watch. I'm making an assumption here that we're going to start seeing this big import of oil from Africa.
Yeah, what's Africa up to? Let's take a look at Saudi.
Oh yeah, the Suez Canal is busy. It's packed, but it's moving. It's not bad.
It's still moving now.
Yeah, it's not bad. It's moving. Oh, did you hear another ship got
stuck? Get out of here.
Another Ever Given?
There's no way.
Yeah, it was another one.
Another one?
I think it's outside of Baltimore.
What if it was like the same captain that they just hired because they needed to?
Well, and the thing is, like, people are like, well, why can't they just pull it out? It's like, you can't offload this stuff. The only thing you could take off the ship is fuel. That's it, right? You still got to pull the thing out. So you got to wait for high tide. But the thing is like, I think it has a 25-foot draft, but the sea floor was like 14 feet or something. So it's like, it's stuck. It's stuck good.
Man. Yeah, I mean, like, how much does each of those containers weigh plus the ship?
Yeah.
It's like,
to be fair, luckily it's kind of out. It's not blocking a whole lot of stuff people can get by, you know, but people were wondering, they're like, what was the pilot doing? You know, like, and the captain, because the captain's responsible.
I mean, a lot of, if you're into conspiracy theories, people definitely think that was absolutely staged and, you know, things were going on. But
it just so happened it was the same company again. Like,
yeah.
that is not how you market. Look at that was like Pinto. Look at the cars that keep exploding.
Oh, man.
No, but a reason why I wanted to show that map and I wanted you to see what's happening right now is that, you know, everybody's like, well, you know, the gas prices are starting to stabilize a little bit. We're back down to $100 a barrel. Mm-hmm. But the price of gas is still, you know, $4.25 average across the country right now. It's going to go up. China is shutting down. They export a lot of crap to us, and all that stuff's gonna get backlogged again.
Yeah, what people don't understand is that, you know, right now it's going to be a bear market on oil. And, you know,
everything.
Yeah, the price that just dipped right now that you saw at the gas stations, first you saw like, you know, $4.50 or something. Now it went down to like $4.30, $4.20 something. That's because a bunch of people sold stock into oil, and so the prices went down, right? But you know, once all
you see the wheat prices?
Yeah, the wheat prices are insane, man.
I know we don't have enough time to pull it up on the thing, but if you ever just get bored, just go on the internet sometime and pull up. You just Google wheat price or something like that. It's insane. I showed it to somebody and they couldn't believe it. they thought I was just joking. I was like,
yeah, and well, what all people also don't understand is all these countries are stockpiling food right now.
Oh yeah,
China's stockpiling a ton of wheat. I think corn is one of their main exports, and they're stockpiling like 70%, only exporting like 30.
Well, and the thing is too is we're getting ready to go into spring, right?
Yep.
Spring and summer, so that's usually when gas prices go up anyway,
exponentially.
Right. That's when we start, planting. We start, getting
fertilizer,
all the crops and everything. Yeah. So we're not going to get any. We're going to start missing. Most of our fertilizer comes from Russia. Not supporting Russia. I'm just saying we can do it with our own natural gas, but guess what? We don't want to do.
Yeah, the impact of the oil prices and shortages aren't felt like almost immediately, right? We obviously are seeing the prices go up, but like everything that has to do with oil is everything takes time to catch up to it, right? And fertilizer is one of those things that Russia supplies a lot of. All that fertilizer, if you can't fertilize the fields, you can't grow the food. Guess what? This next winter, man, it's going to be bleak winter.
Yeah, I would say. Again, keep a level head, pay attention to what's going on. But, when you go to the grocery store, just buy a little extra food, start stocking it away. I think questions that you should be asking yourself is that if disaster were to strike, number one, can I take care of myself? Mm-hmm. And what's the biggest thing we look at is like, it starts out as I think it's 3 weeks, a month, and then 3 months, and then a year, right? So, can you, if disaster struck, can you take care of yourself for a week?
If you have to be on the road for 2-3 weeks, because you're fleeing somewhere or something's happening because of, instability or whatever, could you survive?
Yeah. Do you have enough food at home if you're stuck at home again? Like the whole COVID thing proved that too, right? Yep. We knew somebody that was freaking out over that because they had like ramen noodle in their cupboard. It's like, and they're looking at us like we're a bunch of nut jobs because we have just a little bit of extra food sitting around. It's like, well, we knew this was going to happen.
Yeah, for those of you who didn't get the context of that, where obviously we've said we're members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. I'm proud of it. And one of the teachings of the church is always be self-reliant, be prepared.
Yep.
Obviously, put your faith in our Heavenly Father God,
yep.
But at the same time, He expects you to take care of yourself and be a freaking adult. Again, I'll quote Ron Swanson: "Teach a man to fish, and you feed him for a day, or don't teach him to fish and you feed yourself." Yeah. Fishing's not that hard.
Well, and one last thing, real quick too, is that Glenn Beck talked about this on his podcast. He's a member of our church as well, and he said that he sat down and he prayed and he prayed and he prayed, and he kept asking God. He's like, what do I have to do to prepare? And he's like, the answer that I got back from the Spirit was, "How dare you?
Yeah.
How dare you think about yourself?" And the idea of having extra stuff is not necessarily for you, right? It's to help your fellow man. Yeah. What happens if your neighbor loses their job? What happens if your neighbor's house catches on fire? What happens if anything happens to your neighbor? It is your responsibility to protect and care for your neighbor, right? What's the fable we talk about all the time? He finds a man on the road, right?
Good Samaritan.
Good Samaritan finds a man on the road. He takes care of him. Doesn't know who he is. Not the same religion.
Picks him up, cleans him up, takes him to an inn, gives him food.
Pays for multiple days for the inn.
Pays for a healer, right? For medicine.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, I think the thing is, everybody's selfish nowadays, though, right? Yeah. I mean, it's about me. What can I do? Like, everybody's my enemy. What do they want? Everybody has an agenda. So, unfortunately, for those of us who have faith and obviously believe in the teachings of Christ, I mean, that's the whole purpose of it, right?
Yeah.
To your fellow man, and do unto others as you want to be done to you.
Yeah, and if you're looking at buying that new car, maybe you should wait. If you're looking at,
I don't know why you would buy a new car where it's up like 40% price.
Yeah, if you're going to invest in something, invest in yourself. But just be cautious right about now. It's like you can wait a few months, save some cash. Invest in something that's not going to hurt you. I mean, you invest in some silver or gold or whatnot, you can turn back around and sell it.
Yeah.
But just have a little extra, have a little something, you don't need a hoard or anything like that, but just have a little extra.
Yeah. Now is not the time for indulgence.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think these next 6 months are really, maybe even sooner. Really gonna show us what the next, I guess decade's gonna be, honestly. But with that being said, we really want to thank everybody for joining us today. Obviously, our co-host Kyle had to dip out early, but we want to thank him for being here, and also our other co-host.
He's getting his dog's junk snipped off.
For those of you who don't know, our other co-host Blake, who's usually with us on the podcast, had to unfortunately get his dog's stuff removed. Yeah. To censor ourselves as politely as we can. But we'll have him back soon as well, and we hope to catch you guys soon as well. Do you have anything else you want to add to it?
No, thanks for listening. Just start helping us with making some comments on the stuff, whatever you like or dislike. Like it, share it. Just help us out. We feel that we have a message that we can share with you, and that there's probably other people that think like you do as well. And we just hope that you can share that message and you can share this show, and that's it.
Yeah, I mean, for everybody who's listening, we're amateur podcasters. We're trying to do our best, and
amateur,
absolutely amateurs. But yeah, like, subscribe, share. You can find us obviously first and foremost on Rumble, obviously YouTube. If you want to support us, you can also find our locals account down below in the description. We like money. It helps us out. Get some more better equipment and give you guys some better content. And but yeah, we want to thank you guys again, and we'll see you guys next time.